Hello, everyone. Welcome back to Silver Tears Tarot. So, we're going to jump in and do that Divine Masculine Messages reading today. But before we do, I just wanted to thank you guys. I forgot to say thank you. A couple days ago, mentioned that I had my YouTube anniversary. Like, I just got through a year of being on YouTube, and several of you came back and congratulated me and said happy anniversary. And I just thought, what a wonderful collective. Like, that's the sort of collective I would want to be a part of. I'm just really pleased with that. And I just wanted to say thank you. And it's been a wild year, and thanks for being part of it. So we'll go ahead and jump into the reading. Like I said, it's going to be divine masculine messages. I mentioned that, and I had the first day I had a couple of divine masculines come back and say that we needed to have a divine masculine messages reading because it doesn't always make sense to do it. But then over the last few days, I've had even more come back and say it's time we need to do this. And so, and then I got a couple more last night. So we're going to go ahead and do a divine masculine messages reading. So these are messages from the divine masculine to the divine feminine. And when the divine masculines watch it, so this is how I become aware that I have divine masculines watching my channel. When the divine masculines watch it, that's where I get the messages that say, hey, I'm one person, our famous divine masculine said, I'm as confused as you are. Another one had kind of said, when you tell me, it makes so much sense. When you say it, it makes so much sense, but there's no way I could have articulated it myself. So these are the types of messages that we're going for. What they would like to be able to say, but maybe that's not coming to them in any way. So of course it'll be a general reading for this collective. So if it resonates with you, these readings are all very much connected. So check out some of the other ones. Maybe think about subscribing. I say that every day for the new people. So I'm going to go ahead and jump into that energetic and emotional backdrop to start us out. So this is here today, Saturday, but it's also kind of just in general, right around this time frame. So it's energy that could have already started and does not have to be, I guess, stuck in a single day. So we've got the King of Cups, which is emotion, but it's limited emotion. So we have, we know that there is a desire to, a compulsion to reach out to you, but there's also a lot of healing that still needs to be done. We've seen this in previous readings, but here, this is talking about emotion that there's a certain level of it that's able to run and kind of rise up right now, where sometimes there's almost none. But this is there, it's still limited. It feels like it's still limited. Might be limited on both your sides, because this feels like primarily their energy, but it also feels like it's a little bit of both of you. And a lot of times these energies that we see in this portion of the reading are going to be both of you. They're just not necessarily to the same degree. So we've got the Eight of Spells and the Ace of Challenges. Ace of Challenges is like the Ace of Swords. Okay, so that's going to be about truth basically staring you down, staring them down. This is like something that is, it's become an uncomfortable truth, not necessarily because of the nature of it, but because of the complexity, and B, the fact that it just won't stop coming. The tenacity of this truth is fairly extreme. So it's like they close their eyes and they still see it there. It's an image they can't get rid of. That sort of feeling with regard to this truth, this bond, this energy. They're unable to not be aware of it. And it's a little bit surprising because they're not necessarily actively wanting to move toward it in a lot of cases. There's so much fear there that keeps them from it. It's more of a wanting to, but under the surface, they're compelled to move toward you, but there are so many fears that hold them back. So the messages are already kind of starting to come. The Eight of Spells in the reverse. So spells is, that's fire energy, okay? And so this is like the Eight of Wands in reverse. This is them basically trying to quell what's inside them. So sometimes we see that Ace of Wands come out, or that Ace of Spells energy come out, and it's basically them taking their torch and putting it in the sand to make sure that it goes out, because they can't afford to be seen. They can't afford for that to be happening. It's that kind of energy. But with there being more energetic capacity for emotion right now, this energy feels like it kind of has to take a back seat. The quelling energy feels like it has to take a back seat, at least to this. Like I said, this is energy so strong that when they close their eyes, it's like they can still see it. It's not something that's easily going away for them. Okay, so the Weaver of Visions, this is like Queen of Cups energy. It's water, so it's Queen of Water, and it's the Weaver. Weaver kind of puts things together per the definition, but is also the one who orchestrates, nourishes, depends on the aspect. The energy that's coming off of this card is one of inviting emotion. So it goes nicely with this King of Cups energy in that there's a capacity for emotion on both sides, which for you is not unusual, but for your person, sometimes here lately that has felt kind of unusual. So this is you both being a little bit more open to the emotion of the situation. And in your case, I think you've been open to the emotion of the situation. You've been into healing yourself. You have been into understanding what's happening with you, and you've been very open to it. But sometimes being very open to it leads to feeling the pain of the situation and feeling the pain, honestly, of what it is that came before that caused this situation to trigger you, whether that's something that happened back in your childhood. Usually it's around the big three, right? So it's usually going to be around that fear of anxiety, of betrayal, of rejection. And that's not, we don't want that one. But anyway, so yeah, you're getting into that, but it seems like you are opening your heart to it. You're being very open to seeing, well, how does this connect? Where do I go from here? That sort of feeling. I don't know that your person is feeling that open to it. So they're having that same sort of experience. And this truth, to some degree, is relevant to that. However, their response is a little bit more closed, a little bit more, let me go ahead and quell this. But their ability to quell this is diminished. So it reminds me a little bit of when, oh gosh, it was a few weeks ago. We were getting, I remember saying they would turn on the switch for their defense mechanisms and it just wouldn't work. Like nothing would happen. They'd flip the switch and nothing would happen. It's kind of like that, only it's not happening. It's just having a very diminished effect or diminishing effect. This Ace of Challenges is very much large and in charge. That is an energy of something that can't be missed and will no longer be missed. It's not a new truth. It's a big deal. Even if it's not a big, like you might not, if you ask 10 people whether this was a big deal, the 8 of them might say, no big deal at all. But 2 of them might say, what do you mean? And that's a huge change. For your person, they're one of the 2. This is a huge change. Okay, so we have the Seeker of Visions. This is like night energy, and then we have the Weaver of Boons. This is really that nurturing energy that goes along so nicely with this Weaver of Visions, which is more on the emotional side. The Weaver of Boons has the capacity for that emotion. All over this, I'm seeing capacity for emotion, which is, it feels reluctant though. It feels a little bit reluctant and a little bit, and this is kind of that reluctancy right there. And this feeling that I'm not sure what I'm walking into. I'm pretty sure it's unsafe. It would be safer for me to just stay put where I am. And I think you're both feeling a little bit of that to a certain degree, but I don't see you falling to it. I get the sense that you are more inclined to try and do something new. Your person is less inclined to do that and more inclined to sit this one out and miss an opportunity, which we've seen. There is some opportunity that gets missed here in this time frame. I feel like it's not the only thing happening. I mean, I feel like there's more. This opportunity comes back around in a way, but not as strongly, So with the 10 of Spells, though, in the reverse, this one, it reminds me of falling down. So we've got the 9 of Spells in the upright, 10 of Spells in the reverse. This is a lot of resistance. We were just talking about the resistance to this love energy, this emotion energy, and this the things that are happening along with this greater capacity for that energy, and definitely resistance to this truth, resistance to, the reminder of the pain that is kind of behind the lessons, and not the pain with between the two of you, but the pain that comes from before. So whether it's them or it's you, there is some element of being reminded of what initially got you in the first place, which is why you are being triggered by this. It's also why you're being put in a place to get this lesson, but that it's in no way no way comfortable. This is another one of those opportunities to sit in the discomfort, which is something that we've been hearing that message come out pretty much for a whole year. So we've got the Nine of Spells talking about resistance to this this overall change, or kind of this shift. It's not exactly a change. This energy of this is not new truth, but the energy of this truth that's easy to want to shrink from, but impossible to unsee. This Ten of Spells, though, is, like I said, it's got that feeling of falling down, and it's like, I used to have a deck, and I have a few decks that I traded, and that are no longer with me. And one of the decks that I had an image of someone with the Ten of Spells actually taking a spill, actually falling down, and it was like, that's the way this feels. It feels like running too fast and losing control and losing your footing, or carrying too much and being, it's just falling down because the load is too heavy. It's got that kind of feeling to it. Definitely an opportunity to release some energy and to drop some things. The reluctance to do that and the resistance overall to this truth may get in the way of it. So that's one of the things that I'm feeling in today's energy. So it's a little bit tough of an energy, but it's good that we check this out, because if you have some idea of the energy that you're swimming around in, then you have some idea of how to take it when you see these messages. So, we already had some messages coming out. Things are a little bit overwhelming. They are wanting to put a stop to that feeling of openness. And it's because of being afraid of the emotions. They don't feel like they're ready for it. There's a delay in what they're looking for. The Star card just came out in the reverse. So the Star card is, it's about hope and it's about faith, but it's also, in this case, it feels like it's about timing. Excuse me. I feel like we need to get another card for this as well. So they feel like it's poor timing. There's something that hasn't happened yet. They're kind of that feeling of the holding pattern again. So we've seen this before, where there's a feeling of, I just need you to hang on, wait for me. I'm not there yet. I'm not ready for this. In some way, not ready for it, but they aren't even prepared to say that. Like, there's what I heard from at least one of those divine masculines was, I do not have the capacity to impart the words. I do have an understanding when you say them that they're true. I can see that in myself, but I can't seem to pull it out. So that's part of the nature of it. And that's it's like the feeling of this message. So I feel like that particular divine masculine put things together in a very nice way. And by the way, I am super thankful, and I think I speak for many of us here to say I am super thankful that the divine masculines that have chosen to come forward and identify themselves as divine masculine, or I'm pretty sure I'm the divine masculine in this situation. The fact that you're willing to share your thoughts and emotions is amazing. You're welcome to do that. And if you have things that you want me to say to this collective that's more of a message you don't think you could say to your person, your divine feminine, but you think it's maybe, after seeing some of this, applicable, please feel free. It's very much appreciated, and I know that I appreciate it when you say that, yes, I acknowledge this, I just have a hard time putting it into words. Like, I think we all get that. We've got the Enchanter's Wheel here. This is the reason it's so hard to put into words. This is like, it's really like being, I'm just going to be brutally honest, which apparently that's okay, but it's like being your own worst enemy from a communication standpoint, from an outward communication standpoint. It's like all of a sudden I have all this energy running through me, and I just want to make sure that I get this out the right way. It's like there's a boundary on the emotion. So we know there's a boundary on the emotion, but there's also, once it gets past a certain point, it's like the message gets scrambled. So but I get the sense that it's very much hiding it from themselves. This is the divine masculine hiding this from themselves, which is part of the reason that um, they can't give you the words. So there's this book that I read where, and it was a science fiction and fantasy, more heavy on the fantasy kind of book, where there was an opportunity for you to go and you could ask for a wish, and you'd always have something taken away from you when you got the wish. So this one particular person went and said, hey, I have this pain that needs to be taken away. And the thing that they also had taken away was all memories of that person. It's almost like that. It's almost like they have, your person, your divine masculine has said, please take this pain away, and makes it so that there's no memory of something, or not necessarily no memory, but no ability to communicate what's happening as a result. And it is not like, things are not necessarily moving the way that they would like. So there's almost like a sitcom like quality to things going wrong here. So many years ago, a few of you in certain areas of my viewing, particularly in the United States, and I'm not sure where else. There was a sitcom called Three's Company, and one of the funny things about it was, like, you'd hear a conversation from one side of the door, and it would sound very different from the realities of the situation, and it would create a huge misunderstanding. You get a whole side plot out of it. Anyway, this has that sense to it, but it's really not funny. Like, it's bad things that mostly it has this feeling of both of you doing a little bit of overthinking, leading you to some sort of conclusion that is not only inaccurate but damaging. And so this is your divine masculine doing this, but I'm going to go ahead and say I know that is common in the energy, because I hear it, I feel it. It just wants to come out. But yes, this piece is particularly around the divine masculine and the messages around it. So you've got the Seven of Spells here. They feel like a dog with its tail between its legs for not having invested properly at the time when the opportunity was there. And it's like opportunities since then have, for whatever reason, all just kind of had this terrible Three of Boons in the reverse, Three's Company sort of feel to them. It's bumbled. It doesn't end up getting communicated properly. They don't feel like you're walking away from interactions with them with a good sense of how they really feel, but they also, in a lot of cases, are totally fine with that because they don't want to divulge really how they feel. There's something missing for them. As far as this this new perspective that hasn't yet been gained, and that's why they know it's not yet time. I've got to agree with them here. That feeling of it's not yet time is pretty strong, just in the objective energy, not just in the messages that they would give you if they could. So the Child of Boons, this is them not having gotten far enough with their lessons, and there's something about this that they understand they're in over their heads fairly quickly. They get drowned in this emotion fairly quickly. Child of Boons is like, it's like Page of Pentacles energy, so it's got that card of a student sort of feeling. And so this is a student who hasn't made it through all the new perspectives that need to happen. It's consistent with what we see in the overall energy from them. It's just more about why, they're very aware that things are not over with you. Very aware. They wish they could tell you, but that would kind of mess everything up. They've got a much better feel for where they went wrong and what maybe hasn't worked out, but they still don't have the ability to trust themselves or by extension anyone else. So they aren't able to trust you because they aren't able to trust themselves. And this is something that is still basically a gaping open wound. So there are certain places where there has been some establishment of trust, improvement in that area, but there are a lot of places where that is not a place of heavy progress for them. Some days it feels like a little progress, but most of the time not so much, and they're very aware of it. So we've seen this kind of growing awareness within them of their situation and what they've been doing well and maybe what they haven't been doing well. With the Council of Animals, this is like the judgment card, and it's them being able to say, I acknowledge that I haven't invested, or I didn't invest when the time was right, and I also acknowledge that I can feel that things aren't over. So these are things that they're able to feel, and they're maybe closer to being able to articulate some of that, not necessarily more inclined to do so. I am aware that some of you, your person is able to say a lot of these things, or some of these things. A lot of them are not. A lot of the divine masculines are not. Those of you who are, and I'm getting notes from people that say, hey, I had a great conversation. They blocked me afterwards, but they told me all these things, and it's very consistent with this. It's very consistent with what they're being told is very consistent with, in particular, I realize the mistake that I made. I realize this isn't over. I'm not ready for this, that sort of thing. And then they'll reblock them. And it's just it's very painful to read. I dropped a card, but it fell face down. What do we have here? The Seeker of Boons. So this is like the Knight of Pentacles. It is slow, steady, consistent energy that is well thought out. Some part of them is getting their logical mind wrapped around this here. Now, that doesn't necessarily quicken your process or anything, but it's important to note. We also have the Eight of Visions, and this is important because we have had the lesson of the Nine of Visions. So this is water energy, so it's like the Eight of Cups and the Nine of Cups. Lesson of the Nine of Cups has been about what is it that you really want, because one of the things that we've discovered in these readings is that your person has, in many cases, this divine masculine has in many cases gone towards something that they thought they wanted, that seemed like it was the right thing to do. And now they find themselves in a position where they realize, my goodness, this isn't really what I wanted after all. So this is almost an acknowledgement of that fact, but it's not quite a formal one. So they don't have all of the faculties that would help them to have the perspective to put that into words. We have the perspective right there, but they are moving in that direction. And with this judgment energy, the Council of Animals, that's very much, it's incredibly promising. It just doesn't give me any warm, fuzzy feelings about the speed with which it's going to happen. So I feel like, especially because of this piece with the trust that's lacking, it's particularly difficult for this person to move forward and to make these learnings and to figure out what it is that's truly going to make them happy. So they may be able to figure out all day long what it is that's going to make them happy, but not necessarily be able to move toward it. And the thief of that happiness is going to be that Seven of Challenges, that inability to trust themselves, and therefore an inability to trust you. So, or anyone really, so I mean, if they're having that third party energy, whatever the third party is that they've been struggling with, there's not a high level of trust in that situation either. So whether it's at work or at home or someone in their family, there's a lack of trust there, and it really goes on both sides with a much more deep-seated problem associated with it. That is part of the truth of this, or the truth energy that we see here, is everything just kind of gets clearer and put out a little bit more to where they can see it with this judgment energy and with this truth energy. We're going to look a little bit more into that when we get into the extended, and just kind of understand, for those of you, it's not as many of you who click on the extended as who watch this. So those are, it could be argued that they're a little bit more personal messages, but I'm absolutely going to roll with the energy that comes to me. It's just that the universe may know who's going to click on that, but I don't. So it's, how do we look more deeply into the messages that are coming from them? I think let's first off ask for more messages, and ask for a little bit more of messages they would articulate to you if they had the ability to do so. Let's also find out if we can get a little bit more clarity on what it is that they need to learn here. Before we go over there, we're going to look at you, and the question that we always ask: what should your focus be given what's sitting on this table? Because, we used to do individual reading, or not individual readings, that's separate, but we used to do readings for just you and talk about your lessons. What lessons did you have to learn? And it turns out we probably needed to do those a lot more often. And so what I started doing was to put that into every one of these readings. So we will get deeper into this as we get into the extended. But okay, that it was tenuous and then it said no. So we will get deeper into this in the extended. But while we're in here, I always want you to be able to get messages for you in every single reading. Okay, so we have Knight of Cups in the reverse, urging you not to reach out at this time if you are on the fence about it. If you've got alarms going off in your head, which I know some of you do, saying, yeah, it would be so easy to reach out, but you are discouraged from doing so, and the alarms are saying, do not do it. This card is reinforcing that. But it is telling you to do something. So, all right. So we've got the Fool card, and then we've got the Knight of Cups. The Fool card in the upright, the Knight of Cups in the reverse. Don't reach out to this person, but definitely do something. Start this weekend. That part isn't in the cards, but is in the energy. So there's something that if you have an opportunity to start something, I don't know if it's, lessons on some instrument, whatever it is, there's something that there's a chance to start it this weekend. There's a chance to initiate something in the incredibly near term. You may be sitting right on top of it. It may be the next call or text you get. I don't know. It feels like it's imminent. That is where you are encouraged to direct your energy. For all of those who have been wondering what it is that is going to set your soul on fire and you're still unsure about that, check into this. This could absolutely be important. We've got the Child of Challenges. This is the energy of curiosity, and it's encouragement to be curious, to go into whatever this is, and honestly go into the whole day. Or the evening, or depending on where you are. It's day, it's evening. You may or may not have opportunities, beating your door down right now at this time of day, but you are encouraged to be officially on the lookout. And did we have one turnover? No, I kind of felt like we did for a second there, but we did not. But we've got the Two of Spells here in the reverse. So this is not to, all of a sudden, all these things are coming to mind that are so cliche, like not crying over spilled milk. Don't look back. Don't focus on things that are taking your energy away. Only focus on things that are adding to you. Strong message there. Five of Spells in the reverse. Go in the direction that makes the most sense. Go in the direction that you're guided. Allow your emotion and your logic to work together. Don't make one too heavy-handed, but allow yourself to go where you're guided. If you've got that opportunity for that first lesson with the instrument or whatever it is today, you are encouraged to take that. You are moving toward happiness. This is not the first time. So we don't see a ton of the sun in the upright in this channel. I see it in personal readings sometimes, because the people I do personal readings for, and the Etsy link is down below. I will basically do them until I'll keep my capacity at what I can do. So if you find it sold out, it means that I could not possibly fit another one in right now. If it gets really bad, I shut the shop down for a few days. But I keep it open when I can. Anyway, my point is that I see some of this card. Lately on this channel, we've been seeing this card, and it's been coming out for you, primarily going in the direction of your happiness. This is reassurance that you are headed in a good direction here. You have the Keeper of the Boons here. You have something to work on around whether or not you feel like you deserve this. But there is something social that happens that sort of reinvigorates you. It's not necessarily like you go to a party and have a great time, although that could totally happen. It could be as simple as you have an interaction with a couple of people that maybe you don't even know that well, or you don't even know. It could be people in the grocery store or something, but you have an interaction that makes you walk away feeling invigorated in a way that you realize, I do deserve this. I should move toward my happiness. You know what? I am going to go ahead and take that lesson on the guitar or the piano or whatever your instrument is. You know, I mean, there's just so much of a jump into it, curiosity sort of feeling. Weaver of Spells, which is less of a desired, or no, there's plenty of desire with this. It is not a compulsion for you to jump into anything. This is all still got that easygoing sort of energy that we've been seeing with you of you don't have to rush anything. Just keep your eyes open. It's going to come to you. We have the Huntsman here in reverse that you may or may not be taking enough time for yourself. So that's just something to think about. But whatever it is that you've got going on is by all means already set into motion. So that's the Three of Spells. It's like the Three of Wands. And I feel like sometimes I just roll with the meanings of the cards and I forget to tell you what the cards are. So I try to tell you. But every once in a while, I think I just, here's what I'm getting from it, and which is probably more important for us anyway. So I'm going to take us into the extended now. The link is going to be down below if you want to go there. And we're going to get a little bit more as far as messages. Understanding also maybe a little bit of what's happening here with the perspectives that still need to come from them and kind of or that need to come to them and what the delay is all about. We'll get into you as well. I have a lot of extra energy rolling at this point, so I am just going to shuffle and record immediately because I don't want to lose this. So hopefully we get basically just like a continuation of this reading, which at this point I feel like is what we need, a deep dive particularly into those messages and what's going on there. But of course, we will pay attention also to what your lessons are, what you need to do, although it's so easy, does it? And just what you have coming to your direction is beautiful and almost unrelated to these messages, although may ease your mind to hear them. So anyway, we're headed off to do the extended, and thanks for being here with me. I look forward to seeing you again tomorrow.